and welcome back to the channel. I'm Rob Thomas, your everything Microsoft Cloud Architect. And today we're going to build truly a robust application. I mean, we need to understand what happens under the hood of our databases. Today we're diving into monitoring and diagnostic telemetry in Azure SQL, which is pretty much the key to unlocking deep performance insight. Now, as always, without further ado, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, and that's going to be our enterprise software solution, or Software Dudes. For any of your Microsoft Azure SQL Server, Microsoft 365, Microsoft Windows, Copilot, and Microsoft Dynamics needs, I highly recommend you reach out to these guys. These guys are great. You can see all their existing customers. I'm also one of their customers/partners. I use them for any of your difficult, challenging Azure questions. These guys are great. Definitely reach out to them for help. And let's jump into this. Okay, so this is actually the screen you're going to go to when you're jumping into going to a SQL Server. So you already know you're going to go to Azure SQL. I'll click that. Then when you're in, I have some databases up in here. But because my databases have been paused, you're going to see not the greatest example, right? You're going to see that there's no metrics data, so I can't really show it to you, right? But before we're getting to that, I do want to explain monitoring diagnostic telemetry, right? Give you the background, give you a good foundation, and get into that. So what is telemetry and why do you need it, right? So telemetry is a simple data that gives us visibility into our system's health and performance. That's it. Just want to see how the database is doing. Is it healthy? And is the database performing, right? Now, think of it in three types, right? So it's broken down to three things, which is going to be metrics, and that tells us what is happening, like the CPU usage, logs, that tell us why it's happening, like a specific error message, and then traces, which shows us where a request traveled. Now, for your organization, mastering telemetry means you can move from reactive troubleshooting to proactive problem solving. And that's the foundation. I'm going to talk about the best practices at the end, but this is the big thing. And this is the thing I've seen 24 years in my career, is that everyone is always reacting. And that doesn't really position you well. As you build out your business or your business is existingly growing, you're trying to come up with more proactive problem solving approaches so you can get ahead of the problem. Right. Now let's understand pretty much the telemetry flow. And to do that, I want to share this diagram. And this is pretty much we have all our data sources, which comes from two main places, right? So first, inside the database engine, this is the ground truth from SQL itself. You know, pretty much tools like Query Store, which automatically tracks query history and performance, and DMVs, which gives us real-time health checks. Second, we have data from Azure's platform. Now, this includes fundamentals like metrics, and metrics are CPUs and IO usage, resource logs that record specific events like deadlocks, and activity log, which is our audit trail for actions like creating and deleting a database. All right, so now we have that understanding, and we know all this data is valuable. It is raw until we send it somewhere. In other words, like the data is kind of like can't really do anything because the data is like really, really raw. We need to send it somewhere so it adjusts and transfers that data so you can consume it or you can use it. And that's the job of a diagnostic setting, which I was showing you when you logged in. The diagnostic setting acts as a router, and here's kind of the diagnostic setting setup, and then you can kind of see it. Let's go back to here so you can kind of see. If I click on it, it's not going to do anything because it's not showing anything. But again, it acts as a router. You have three keys destinations. The most important is the log analytics workbook. Now think of this as the brain for the telemetry. It's where you can perform deep analysis. And then second, you have the event hub. And think of the event hub as a superhighway for streaming data in real time to other systems. And then lastly and third, Azure Storage, which is the archive for cost-effective long-term log retention, right? So I know in previous videos, like I've showed you, like you go to free services and you basically have these options to spin up like the storage stuff. So you want to take like all your storage data and archive it, but you don't want to actively access it. Like it's there when you need it for something, right? So, and that's how you get the prices down. So that's why Azure Storage is very important. It's a valuable solution to solve that problem, right? So now let's bring all of this together. Now, turning data, and basically our goal is to turn data into action. Once the data is into the log analyst workspace, you can unlock its true potential. And I'll just go back here, right? You can create intelligent alerts that notify you of problems proactively. This centralized approach is far more powerful than just looking at metrics from a single database in the portal. Okay. Now, so this is this is the diagnostic setting, right? So basically, how do you connect these sources to the destination? And you do this through, your diagnostic settings that I'm talking about here. And while we won't walk through it because I don't have time, but in a future video, I'm going to walk through it click by click, but we're not doing that today. But I just want to explain the process is simple. You can create the settings. You can check the boxes for specific logs and metrics you need, like errors, deadlocks, core restore stats. And then you point it to your chosen destination, like your log analytics workspace. It's a one-time setup that enables a continuous flow of valuable data. So as I mentioned, because it's not going to do anything, this is pretty much where you want to go. When I say one-time setup, you come in here and you click all logs and send it to the log analytics workspace where I was just mentioning, right? So, okay, so that pretty much covers it. Like crash course, get you there. So let's talk about 4 quick best practices. I'm going to leave you that, let you walk away with that and let that help you. And then this is a screenshot of once you get everything done, this is what it's going to look like. End result, great, you can use this, CPU, see what's going on, data IO, log IO, you can see what's actually going on. Now, let's talk about best practices, and I'll go back and I'll bring that slide back up. Now, Azure SQL Database Monitoring has 4 best practices. And that is centralize your telemetry in your data, your telemetry data into a single log analytics workspace for unified analytics, right? And then make enabling diagnostic settings a standard for every new database you deploy. And you start by collecting key logs like errors and deadlocks, then expand as needed, right? And then finally use Azure Monitor to create proactive alerts on your log data. So don't wait for users to report a problem, right? So centralize your logs, enable it from day one. So you're going to enable your diagnostic setting and then collect what you need and then alert proactively. So let's just quickly jump back over. And then they're talking about these alerts. So you'll come in here and then you're just basically create alerts, right? So that covers that. That's helpful to give you a strong foundation. You really understand, and this is just, again, this is how it looks, but you really have a good grasp. You understand what's going on. You understand what's taking place, right? And I hope this was helpful because harnessing telemetry is a game changer for building and maintaining pretty much world-class applications. So again, I hope you got a lot of value out of this. And if you did, please subscribe for Azure Tips. Have a question or a topic you want to see next, drop it in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Again, click like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.